Thank you very much. Welcome, everybody. I'm very happy to chat with you all, go through a little presentation about labor management, time and attendance systems. And if there are, at any point, if there are questions that you have over what I'm going over, feel free to ask away. I love interactive presentations, especially when we're doing them remotely when I can't see the crowd. I really don't know that you're hopefully getting everything out of it that you need to. So I'll go ahead and go through that. As Adrian said, I've been in the labor management or time and attendance business for over 12 years now, and so even in the 12 years, have seen a lot of new development occur. When I started out, there was, we were selling software and hardware time clocks that help with labor management, and seen a lot of different developments in that arena, moving towards more mobile application. And so as organizations have a workforce that become more mobile or have always been mobile and haven't had a solution, we're able to bring a lot more into that arena. So without much further ado, I'll go ahead and move into that. A little bit about us, Sierra Workforce Solutions. We are very passionate. I didn't know when I started off with Sierra that I would be here after 12 years, to be perfectly blunt and honest. But it's been a great organization to work with, and a lot of the reason why is that we do bring a lot of passion about helping organizations gain greater control over their workforce productivity and improving profitability. And you're going to do that through time and attendance software that automates that accumulation of an employee, hourly workers, as well as perhaps even salaried employee workers, their time, doing that in a time and attendance software. And within that software solution, or in conjunction with, are going to be different types of time clock systems as well. And in addition to the time and attendance, time clocks, we've also begun working in developing workplace security solutions as organizations feel a more pronounced need for security for a workplace. And all of those different pieces really go into that workforce management solution, be it the hourly employees and tracking of time, whether it's just for hours, how many hours did this employee work, this is what they're going to get paid, to how did those hours get broken out to different things during the workday, on different projects, on different departments, or different jobs that employees have worked in, really managing that workforce. And probably a very large component of our passion and our solution is what we consider our exceptional support. We offer different types of support for organizations when they have our solution, and we take great pride in being able to provide an exceptional support environment for our customers. Now, why you want to pay attention, you need to pay attention to time and attendance. Whether it's different types of absences that employees have, whether they're scheduled or unscheduled, because you'll have paid time off, but you will also have employees that call in sick or take unscheduled absences. They are going to account for up to 35% of a company's payroll. So that's a significant portion of an organization's liabilities, and it's very important to maximize your ability to watch that, prevent problems, and being able to see where you need to get some more accountability. Because companies that are not compliant with wage and hour laws, they run the risk of costly litigation. There's a number of examples of that particular issue. And workplace security, access control can be imperative for the protection of facilities. That's both personnel as well as intellectual property, whether it's an advantage an outside situation might have where they can take product, or it's the protection of who's accessing the facilities for the employees. Part of that, as I mentioned, was reducing that risk of labor law violation. Automating your workforce management is going to help minimize compliance risk, and that's by centralizing your wage and hour policy to a centralized system so that you're not counting on a manual situation to make sure that you're compliant. It helps facilitate local policy enforcement. We sell our product across North America, down into the Caribbean. We can really sell it around the world, but just within the United States, we're going to have different states with different requirements. Sierra happens to be located in California, and California is one of the most stringent or large working labor rules that companies have to follow. Just on overtime alone, you've got anything over 8. So I think every other state does anything over 40. So we have to build the software to match the different possibilities of different locations and different types of rules or local policy enforcements that we need to do. And so that's where our expertise comes in and where our software comes in. Automating your workforce management will also create a detailed audit record so that if you do get a letter or an invitation for a hearing by local government, you've got an audit report. You'll be able to see that information, whether that's for something like a lawsuit or if it's just internally wanting to see where you might be having problems with employee hours, whether that's management making adjustments that they shouldn't be or employees not following the rules. That audit record is going to enable you to capture that information. And one of the most important things with an automated system is applying overtime and other pay rules evenly without prejudice, reducing mistakes and reducing problems with employees. If employees know that their overtime is being calculated appropriately, or that you can prove to the employees, or an organization can prove to the employees that their overtime, their special rules, differentials, anything that affects that employee's pay is calculating correctly in a software that is black and white. It does not care what the situation is. It's just calculating the math. The employees aren't going to have problems. The organization is going to reduce those mistakes that they have. That's why it's really important to have or look at automating workforce management. There we go. Cross your T's and dot your I's. Our product is going to make sure that if you are going to be audited, that you're prepared for that audit. You're going to be able to avoid costly mistakes, avoid costly overtime lawsuits, because they affect companies large and small. And being able to view staff schedule in real time will allow flexibility with your workforce, being able to move employees to different areas that might need coverage because employees call in sick. But in terms of those lawsuits, in addition to what we have here with Levi Strauss having to pay $1 million in overtime, very large company with a very large hit. We also have smaller companies like the sushi restaurant down in Tampa agreeing to pay more than $54,000 in back wages to just 14 low-wage restaurant workers following a U.S. Labor Department investigation. And Twizen cost up $209,000. AT&T recently has a huge class action suit pending over labor. Starbucks had a $1.6 million settlement. Small restaurant in Duncan, Oklahoma, paying servers $85,000 in back pay. So you can see there's any number of situations where the Department of Labor is coming in, employees are making complaints, there's no real audit trail to prove an organizations followed the rules appropriately, and they're faced with taking quite a hit. Automating your labor management will help contain the opportunity for a dire situation like that. So that's why having an automated workforce system will be helpful for an organization to avoid that. From a workplace security, controlling the facility access through a central system that can be done in conjunction with our time and attendance system will help secure and protect proprietary areas. Having even visitors being able to log in and you're being able to track, or a company is able to track their whereabouts on the site, gives you the ability to see who is where at a quick glance. So if you did need to get everybody out of a building for some reason, you can use a workplace security system to track that type of information. So saving that time when a centralized look at headcount is very important. Most recently, during a conversation with a prospect, they were talking about how just having a door ajar gets hot during the summer, and they keep the doors ajar. What that does is it enables people from the outside to come in. There's things laying around and quickly take product, steal product. So being able to secure a workplace environment is helpful from a protecting people perspective, as well as protecting property that an organization has. Some of the benefits of an automated time and attendance system is going to be accurate information, timely information, increasing productivity with employees, being able to allocate them appropriately, and again, reducing that risk of the labor law violations, which can be very costly. Why an organization should automate? I know that in the 12 years that I've been here, when I first started, I had talked with a lot of people that they've got paper is how they're tracking their time. Less now, but I still talk monthly with people that do not have any type of a automated system at all. They've got a physical time clock that does the punch cards. They have just spreadsheets that they're accumulating time. Automating is going to save time, so there's none of those cumbersome spreadsheets that need to be manually keyed into your payroll or HR database or an external one if you're using an outsourced payroll provider. The saving money will streamlining your time and attendance is going to save staff time from that cumbersome spreadsheet example. Automating will help avoid entry errors so that the software is taking care of the entries, so you're not having to make entries and you hit the wrong key and you add additional hours to an employee's paycheck. You've got instant visibility with automation of scheduling and staffing, being able to know who's going to be there, and if you have certain staffing needs in terms of people with certain skill set that you need to have on site, you'll be able to do that with an automated scheduling system. Easy auditing allows fluidity of your workforce, so you know where people are, where they've worked, what hours they've done, so you can compare time against budgets that you might have set up for labor management. And then using employee productivity data to make strategic decisions. If you've got more hours spent in an area that you need, you can reallocate those hours, those employees' time to different areas. If you're needing to shore up specific areas, you'll be able to do that. Using an automated system will allow you to make those really important strategic decisions in your business. Automating will also provide you with accurate information, restricting unnecessary overtime and other exceptions. With an automated system like with ours, there are some reports that you can run where you can actually see who might be approaching overtime, who has overtime. So it enables you to make those strategic decisions about where you want to have your employees work. Do you want to go ahead, or do you need to let that employee work that overtime, or is there somebody else you can bring in to cover that to help save some dollars? That's how you will assign resources more effectively and reduce your time needed to schedule employees. Being able to automate the system will enable you to eliminate the need to calculate those time cards, as well as improve employee productivity and reduce employee grievances. Be that whether they think that they earned more time, that they worked more hours or worked less hours, or somebody else is getting all the great schedules. Having that automated system and having that accurate information will enable you to answer those employee grievances in the system. Of course, reducing time spent managing time cards. It's more important to manage employees and the workflow rather than looking at the system and manually calculating things like accruals such as sick and vacation time, because our automated system can do those accruals for you so that you'll spend less time calculating how much time an employee has for sick, vacation, PTO, or anything like that. You can also, if you're wanting to have employees access the system, give them some self-service, and this allows them to enter in time if they're doing timesheet entries, or also being able to view their own time data. So before they go to HR and ask for vacation time or ask if they have time available, if they're using self-service, they can actually see that information before they make that request. We can also give them the ability to make that request through the system, so there's some more detailed way, documented way of tracking employee requests for time off. And then we also have Supervisor self-service, which gives the flexible and powerful reporting capabilities so that managers can look at their employees' time, see how that's looking at, and get consistent business rule-based processing of those audit trails. And what that just means, it takes out, again, the calculation by supervisors of what their employees have worked. All they need to do is review the time that the system says that that employee has worked. They can then make the appropriate supervisor decisions on that. So automating a time and attendance system, whether it's something like a timesheet or physical time clocks, devices, is going to increase productivity. That's eliminating those manual payroll errors that can occur. Doing away with time card preparations, the collections, the filing, the storage of that information, having it all in a centralized database will enable you to get away from paper trails. It will significantly cut down on payroll processing time. You'll find that a lower tardiness rates overall as employees understand that that information is being tracked, and a proactive use of working with employees to make sure that they understand what tardiness means to the organization and that it's being tracked will lower those tardiness rates. It will eliminate unauthorized hours. If you've got employees that aren't authorized for overtime, you'll be able to see that information and be able to eliminate or start to eliminate some of that issue. It'll eliminate the need to calculate vacation, sick, or compensation time accruals because our system can do that. So as employees work, whether if they're earning time off for the hours that they work, our solution can track that information and calculate that for a company, and will identify and eliminate time abuses. That's going to be things like long breaks. You'll be able to see that information, buddy punching. We have some time clocks, biometric devices that force that employee to be there to clock in and clock out. They can't have a buddy clocking in for them in the system. So with the click of a mouse, you can imagine having all your time entries sent in to the payroll service or payroll software that you're using internally, and all of your accounting systems updated at the same time, putting it into the multiple-step process. Calculating your clients or your own ROI, there are some different areas that that automated system is going to have you see a return on your investment. That's going to be the time card audit savings, the time it takes to add up those time cards, the employee time theft, that lost time, and then the mistakes, the human errors that you have when supervisors are simply adding up time. That all is going to equal the total monthly savings. And just kind of a generic sample audit savings, studies have shown that manual totaling of time cards takes approximately 6 minutes per time card. An automated system will reduce that to, at the very least, 1 minute. So, for example, you got 100 employees. If you're saving 1 minute, you're saving 5 minutes there. So your minutes saved weekly is going to be 500. If your hours saved weekly is $8.33, your rates of your payroll clerk, you can see your weekly and monthly savings in just audit savings of totaling time cards. It's going to be around $400 a month. Your human error, the issues with making mistakes, if you've got those same 100 employees, your total weekly payroll is going to be around $40,000. You know, we just went with 0.25% instead of 1 to 8%, just to show a conservative savings that you'll have. That'd be another $400 a month in human error savings. That lost time, having the employees not being able to clock in for each other, and really tracking and eliminating those areas of time theft that you may have, you're going to show the ability to capture monthly nearly $2,000 or $2,000 or more in monthly wages recaptured. And that's, again, we did just 1/10 of an hour in the 6 minutes of lost productivity minutes per day with an average hourly rate of $10. So it could be a little higher. You know, if your average hourly rate's a little higher, your savings will be higher as well. So just on that 100 employee company example, you're going to have total monthly savings of nearly $2,800 and a little over $33,000 for per year in savings just from automating a time and attendance system. So earlier we had a question about those timesheets or just doing a timesheet program. You know, with our solution, we do have some different types of time entry options. That can be your conventional time clock, where an employee is going to be using a type of badge, whether it's a magnetic stripe, barcode. A lot of organizations are moving towards proximity, where they just take a badge and they wave it near the time clock, and it recognizes them and helps them clock in. We have organizations that are using prox cards, proximity readers, or RFID readers to also track or open doors, locks, that security. You can also use those same cards with a time clock. We have some different types of biometrics, whether it's the hand reader that you see on the screen there, which uses an employee's right hand to log them in. We've also got fingerprints, facial recognition actually, and we also have finger vein readers that will actually read the finger veins underneath the skin to recognize the employee. So the biometric options gotten very popular in that you don't have badges to deal with, and the employee actually has to be there to clock in and clock out. Further technology is the web-based applications like a PDA or tablet, or just the computer itself, smartphones, different mobile applications that enable an organization who do have mobile employees to be able to clock in and clock out from that web-based application. And that's probably, in my 12 years in the industry, probably is the biggest step forward that I've seen. There is so much more being done in that mobile environment using GPS within that mobile environment so that you can see where your mobile employees are when they're clocking in and clocking out, if they're at the location that they say they're clocking in from, or if they're at a different place. And then we also have enterprise-based time clock kiosks, computers that employees can go to, or just off on their individual workstation options as well, having access to the system. And a lot of organizations are moving in that direction and moving away from the physical time clocks because the cost of computers have come down so much that it's beneficial or cost-effective to go towards more of a computer-based solution versus the physical time clocks. But our system will work in both, and we actually have customers that will mix and match. They'll have some employees using just the computer to clock in and clock out, while other employees will be using a physical time clock. Our solutions work in all of those different, or with all of those different options. In the software itself, an automated system, for our solution, for example, we have supervisor dashboard views, and this just is something that helps the managers, supervisors, be able to look into the software to different areas that may be of interest to them, whether that's where somebody is right now, who's in at the system, your weekly totals, your missing punches and absences, those errors that need to be taken care of before you process payroll. If you're using the system to do absent requests from employees, you can see that information. So a good automated system is going to be able to give you different views into different areas of the software. part of those views are also going to be a good, powerful reporting system. One of our solutions have powerful reporting, so you'll be able to look at different areas, report off of that information, whether that's simple time reports or labor management. If you're doing some job costing in the system, you'll be able to do that and see that information in the application. Schedule reports as well as employee reports as well. So you can get a good view of different areas of the solution of your workforce and where they're at with our powerful reporting. Our system is also very flexible and configurable. One of the pieces that we feel sets us apart is how we integrate data from the payroll or HR application to our solution and back and forth. What we have done is we've developed a bidirectional interface, a true bidirectional interface. And what that does, as you see on the screen here, we're going to be able to update employee information or update our solution from payroll HR. And what that does is it transfers or updates employee information, what their role is with the company, any organizational information. In some cases, we'll also be able to do differentials or bringing over differentials and accrual balances. If you've got an internal HR application, we can bring over accrued balances and bring them over into our Time Master system. So really syncing up that payroll, HR, time and attendance component even more. And then we process payroll. When you're tracking that time, all of that gets accumulated. The client will be able to use our interface to integrate that data back into payroll if you're doing that internally. If you're outsourcing payroll to a third-party provider like ADP or Paychecks, we are agnostic, so to speak. So we'll work with anybody. We can export that data over to that outsourced payroll provider. So whether you're doing it internally, payroll internally or externally, we'll be able to work with that organization. And the usefulness of that, if you are doing outsourced payroll and you're with a ABC company doing your payroll or doing your client's payroll, the benefit of having a system like ours is you decide to move from that ABC company to XYZ company. So maybe you're with Paychecks now and you want to move over to ADP. You have our system in place. You don't have to change the time and attendance system. You can just change the export that you do, moving it from Paychecks over to ADP or from ADP to a different company. If you are with an outsourced payroll provider and you bring that in-house, we'll be able to utilize our interface to start working with that particular solution. So not only will the time and attendance system save money on an ongoing basis from the perspective of tracking labor hours, it can also save money by not having to move to a completely new application and going through that learning process all over again with our, as I said before, agnostic system. With Sierra, probably the component that I have most focused on with my time here, in addition to the time and attendance piece and selling that part of it, is our service. The integrity, service, and support. It's what we've honed on my entire time here, even prior to that. And what we're always looking to do is use best-of-class practices for consultation and guidance. We don't just simply sell a solution and expect a client to learn it on their own. We help implement and train on that, and that's our professional implementation and training. We spend a lot of time getting to know the client and what their needs are so that the software gets set up and implemented appropriately. And then after that implementation is done, we look for and having a knowledgeable and efficient technical support staff so that when our clients have issues, they can reach and get a hold of somebody in our support staff. They'll be able to work with them, resolve issues, troubleshooting time clocks, the software itself, making adjustments when we hit daylight savings time and everybody's needing making sure everything is working appropriately. We have a knowledgeable and, like I said, knowledgeable and efficient technical support staff to meet the needs and demands of our clients. What I'd like to say right now is if you want to take note of my contact information, I will be more than happy to provide a more in-depth demonstration, not just a PowerPoint presentation of my opinions on time and attendance and labor management, but also provide a demonstration of the software. Be more than happy to work with you or your clients to review the software, review your organizational needs for time and attendance, and what we might be able to provide for you. If nothing more than just advice, I'd be more than happy to do that as well. But that's how you might be able to contact me and get my information. So I would just like to thank everyone for your time, the question, and if anybody has any questions now, I'll be more than happy to answer those to the best of my ability.